In America, people have the right to produce themselves in any way they like. A lot of times, comedians or musicians go into television or go into movies or go into film directing, and they have the right to do that. If they're old enough, if they're mature enough, or if they're just standoffish enough, say Taylor Swift, who was always in control to the best of her ability, regardless of her age, of what she wanted to do. And for the most part, I think it resulted okay for her. But was it okay for you? Cannot say. Don't follow her that much today. But during a time of COVID, people are always wondering, how do these stars who have to still go on stage to do their interviews, to go to press junkets, handle themselves in a time of COVID? And the truth is, a young person doesn't want to lose their life to people who still have challenges in terms of healthcare. It could be just the common flu, and yet people don't tell you that they have the flu. The other day I listened to more than anything else, a woman who is a manager of a shop who was completely sick, should not have been there, but because of the holiday, she came in anyway. The challenge is, I think she did her best to stay away from people, but it didn't stop her from touching me on the arm, which I don't like. I don't need to be touched by a woman who's not A, my wife, or B, one of my closest girlfriends, or one of the intended women that I've invited to be my wife. The reality is that people have rights, and you have the right to decide who you want close to you. And you also have the right to give the Lord, as I always share with women when I'm doing spirituality courses, the words from God that keep you safe and give you the lessons you need. You see, there are short-term partnerships and there are long-term partnerships, but in today's world of pandemic, epidemic, and what we call COVID, we have to have the Lord's blessing in every way. If you want to keep yourself safe from these illnesses, then you need to pray over yourself, pray over the lives of people that you love, and pray for your own healing if you've contracted something that you probably didn't know who had, and now you're reeling because you participated in something that got you too close to someone who either was lying to themselves about the rights not to tell you, which is typical to certain cultures, or didn't know at the time that they had the problem and then they gave it to you. And that's just not fair. So in this time of lovey-dovey stuff and what you know is the Hollywood smooch where they do the kissing on the cheek or what have you, it's not a real kiss that's going on. And openly, it's sort of something that maybe American generals should be practicing with their kids, but in truth, you don't have to kiss anyone you don't want to. And there's always going to be some monster who's going to try to lay one on you, but in a time of COVID, everyone has to have a better concept of respect, of personal boundaries, of personal rights, of personal permissions. You see, you don't have the right to undress someone without their permission, yet there are plenty of white men, plenty of black men, plenty of white women and black women and other colors women that are willing to participate in that form of abuse, of power abuse. It's an abuse of power to do that to someone without their consent. It's an abuse probably of medical rights in a lot of ways because you're taking away the privacy of their personhood, and that's not okay.